Tim Ferriss recently had a Harvard psychiatrist on his podcast, and the psychiatrist shared a miraculous story of a woman who managed to recover from paranoid schizophrenia. This psychiatrist, I was worried he was going to be like some other psychiatrists in that they do not really care about the story of the patient, they only care about the symptoms, following the Bible of the DSM. However, I could tell that the psychiatrist was a little bit different whenever he shared the story about the DSM. Let's have a listen to it.
The reality is that the National Institute of Health abandoned the DSM-5 diagnoses about a decade ago, recognizing these aren't valid constructs, and we're not really getting anywhere assuming they are.
Now, if you're a long-term listener to this YouTube channel, then you know that I agree with this. So the psychiatrist that I've been mentioning so far is called Dr. Chris Palmer. Dr. Chris Palmer, a Harvard psychiatrist. Yeah, I go to Harvard. He met this woman called Doriss, who had been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia for 53 years. From the age of 68 to 70, she had multiple attempts at taking her life. She was massively overweight and also experienced auditory hallucinations and grandeur delusions. In the clinic she was attending, she could offer a weight loss rehabilitation and she decided to join it, being massively overweight due to the weight gain given to her by the antipsychotic medications. In this weight loss clinic, she experimented with a ketogenic diet. Within 2 weeks, she managed to stop hearing auditory hallucinations. 6 months later, she managed to go off her antipsychotic medication. And for the next 15 years, Doriss, until her deathbed, never experienced psychosis or paranoid schizophrenia symptoms ever again. Wow, her story is miraculous. Tell me this, if you have psychosis, does that tempt you to try the ketogenic diet? Before I go into the science of what a ketogenic diet is, the Schizophrenia man, Jacob, who I interviewed on my podcast, he has also been experimenting with the ketogenic diet and he has found that it's helped him. Why does a ketogenic diet help you? Basically what keto does is it forces your body to burn fats rather than burn carbs. And so in a normal diet, you would say, you would be eating your carbs, the carbs then get turned into glucose, the glucose then goes around your body, it goes then into your brain, and then Dr. Chris Palmer's hypothesis is that having too much glucose in your brain can affect your mitochondria, and these mitochondria are responsible for creating the energy in your brain. And so by going on the ketogenic diet, instead of removing the power of the mitochondria, what you're doing is you're burning the stored fat inside of your body, you're sucking out all of the bad stuff that are in your organs, such as your livers, and you are allowing an increase in mitochondria in your body, giving you more energy. Evidently, the burning of fat cells and the increase in mitochondria has had a life-changing effect on Doriss. Dr. Chris Palmer mentions in the podcast that if you are experiencing fatigue and a struggle to read while on antipsychotic medication, then potentially this could be the diet that would be beneficial for you. If, however, you are able to live freely while being on your antipsychotic medication, then he suggests you do not disturb that too heavily. With all this in mind though, why would you not try the ketogenic diet? Some of the side effects of a ketogenic diet include struggling to sleep. Dr. Chris Palmer's hypothesis here is that the reason that you're struggling to sleep is because you're having this lack of glucose. Your body and brain think that there is a famine outside and they want you to go on the hunt searching for food. Supposedly there's been some studies where people have struggled to get sleep consistently while on this diet and they've relied on getting 2 hours of sleep. And if you're experiencing psychosis, then you will know that this could be very dangerous for you. Before I started hearing auditory hallucinations, I wasn't able to sleep for like 3 to 5 days. And if you experience bipolar type 2, then you will know that a lack of sleep could lead to a state of manic. And so if you are struggling with this lack of sleep while on the ketogenic diet, then what you should probably do is eat more carbs so that you can sleep, and eat the carbs later at night because carbs make you tired. Okay, now this sounds great. I've heard the good stories, I've heard the side effects, I want to try it, what do I do? From my understanding what the ketogenic diet includes, and I'm not a doctor, is trying to increase your fat intake as much as you can. Now this is healthy fats. What this can include is double cream, high fat Greek yogurt, almonds, nuts, the likes of that. And if you're a meat eater, then you can get your fats through meats as well, and your proteins. You also want to make sure you have a substantial amount of proteins. So vegetarians, vegans, make sure you get your lentils and beans in. Meat eaters, make sure you get your meats in. And the main objective of a ketogenic diet is to reduce your intake of carbohydrates, because this is what will increase your mitochondria in your brain and get those fat cells burned in your body. There are many ways that people suggest that you can reduce the carb intake in your body. What I suggest you do is to do it one meal at a time. So focus on having maybe 1 or 2 meals a day where you have carbohydrates in it. It can either be in the morning with your bowl of porridge, or it could be at night time with your big bowl of spuds. Dr. Chris Palmer also suggests not including exogenous ketogenic supplements. He says that in his studies he's not seen any improvement through the use of exogenous supplements. What you also have to worry about is in supermarkets they are apparently advertising ketogenic junk food, such as like ketogenic brownies. And what these are doing is it's having adverse effects in your body because it's doing the complete opposite to what you want the ketogenic diet to do. So avoid these ketogenic junk foods and avoid sugar. Before trying this, leprechauns, please take it one step at a time. Do not rush into it. Take it easy and advise with a psychiatrist or a psychologist before doing anything. To find out what the best diet for your psychosis recovery is, then I recommend you watch this video here. Thanks for listening, leprechauns.